This lesson is about harmonizing chorale melodies using tonic, dominant, and sometimes predominant chords as well. We'll start with a melody that I'll show you in a minute. You want to write the scale degrees of the melody in so that you know what chords will go with the notes of the melody. In chorale style, the melodic notes will be part of the harmony, so you'll choose a chord that fits the scale degree. And the harmonic rhythm or length of each chord is usually 1 per beat. Let's look at a melody and you'll see what I mean. In this phrase, in G major, the first thing we want to do is write in scale degrees. So from that first note, we've got scale degree 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So the harmonies that we choose will all be parts of scale degree 3, part of the first chord, scale degree 5, part of the next chord, 4, part of the chord after that, etc. We want to choose chords for the start and especially for the cadence. We don't have to fill in all of the harmonies in order from the first note to the last note, but we can do them in an order that we know what chords we're going to be using. For our cadences, remember, either the last chord is a 5 chord for a half cadence, or the last 2 chords are 5-1 for an authentic cadence. And review the starts of phrases from chapter 11. Usually the first downbeat is a 1 chord, but if there's an upbeat, it can be either a 1 or a 5. In this particular case, note that we end on scale degree 1, coming from scale degree 2. That's a perfect authentic cadence. So that means we'll be ending on a 1 chord and coming to it from a 5 chord. The beginning of the phrase with scale degree 3 will be a 1 chord. We're not quite sure about the rest of it, but that's a good place to start. Next, we want to write a bass line to go with the melody. The first time through when we write the bass line, use only consonances and chordal dissonances. Try for a smooth bass line, but some leaps in the bass are okay in moderation. As you're writing the bass line in, you should have in mind the chords and sometimes the inversions that go with the soprano bass notes that we've got. For now, we should probably be sticking with 1 and 1/6, 5 and 5/6, 5/7 and its inversions, and the predominant chords that we studied in this unit. Here's one way to fill the bass line in. Let's start over there in the bass with a 10th, a 6th, a 3rd, and we're headed up to a root position 5 chord and then a root position 1 chord at the cadence. Here's what it sounds like so far. can refine this a little better. For example, we could put in a passing tone there, and let's hear how that sounds. What we just did was added an embellishment to the bass. We put in a passing tone in that first complete measure, and we can put in passing tones, neighbor tones, or chordal skips. You don't have to embellish every beat, but consider where it helps to make a smoother and more interesting bass. At this point, we should be thinking a little bit about what chords we're going to have. Over here, with the B in the bass and the melody, that will be a 1/6. Over here, with an F sharp in the bass and a D up above, let's ignore the passing tone and not harmonize that. So for these two beats, that's going to be a 5/6. This third beat's a little trickier. A over here, C over there. In this particular case, since we're moving from 5 to 1, a predominant chord, a 2 chord, wouldn't be good here. The predominants go to the dominant, not from them. So instead, let's use our inversion of the 5/7, the 5/4/3, which we know goes to a 1/6 very well. There's one more thing we can do here, and now let's look at that gap over there, and there are a few ways we can do this. We can either put a passing tone on the upbeat here, or because scale degree 2 lasts for 2 entire beats, here's a place where we could possibly put a predominant chord in. In this particular case, let's go to the 5 chord, but let's wait until the third beat, and instead, that's consonant C up to A, and then I go to the D over there. So this would be possibly a 2/6, and then to a 5 chord. Before we fill the inner voices in to complete the harmonies, let's hear this. I think that's going to work. We just made our final choices on the chords and inversions. Now let's fill in the inner voices. So here we go. If we start from this position, and we go there for the 5/6, notice that we're not harmonizing the passing tone on beat 2, but we're letting the upper 3 voices stay where they are. Now for the 5/4/3, the chord is D, F sharp, A, and C. And we already have the A and the C. We can stay here on the D, and we can go to the F sharp over here. Tendency tones for the 5-4-3. The C goes down to B in the soprano. F sharp, the leading tone, goes to G, and we stay on D. Now, for the 2-6 chord, we need an E, and we need a doubling. And actually, what we're looking at possibly is something like this, where we double the A, and then go down here, and there for the 5 chord, and fill it in that way. Let's hear what this sounds like. Wanted to look at the structure of the phrase. Here's our tonic. It's being expanded through the 5s going to the 1. Here's our predominant. Here's our dominant. And here's our tonic at the cadence. As we're choosing chords, here are a few tips. Except for the opening upbeat-downbeat combos sometimes, the chord often changes when entering a strong beat. That is to say, a downbeat, or in a 4/4 measure, beat 3 can also be strong. And certain choices are clear for now. Scale degree 3 goes with a 1 chord. The leading tone, scale degree 7, goes with a 5 chord. For the ones where you have several choices, look at the structure of the phrase and get some sense how that's going to work. We'll do some examples in class, but that will get you a good start on harmonizing chorale melodies. Thanks, and that's the lesson for today.